Welcome to MediVoyage. From a god's eye view, today's world beneath the azure sky is riddled with power plays, ambition, conspiracies, and betrayal. This ever-evolving global perspective sets the stage for our exploration of 7 classic Mediterranean tales, stories of alliances forged and empires dismantled by rulers and merchants alike. Which of these ancient sagas most closely mirrors our present day? Your answer, O wise and insightful viewer, might just predict the next decade of world events. So, are you ready? Buckle up. The labyrinthine corridors of Knossos once echoed with the iron-fisted rule of King Minos. But what fueled this mighty kingdom? The answer lay in the hands of Phoenician merchants who braved treacherous seas. Led by the enigmatic Hiram of Tyre, these cunning traders brought unimaginable wealth to Crete. But as riches flooded in, so did tensions. Cultural clashes turned allies into rivals, and when disaster struck, both natural and political, this once thriving relationship shattered in an instant. The ruins of Knossos stand today whispering a chilling lesson. Even the mightiest alliances can crumble overnight. In our era of global trade, does this ancient tale not reflect current relationships? Like Minos and the Phoenicians, modern nations enjoy unprecedented prosperity through economic ties. Yet these same connections sow seeds of potential conflict. Are we, in our interconnected world, unwittingly recreating the volatile dynamics of ancient Crete? The thundering hooves of Hannibal's war elephants crossing the Alps once promised to bring Rome to its knees. But Hannibal wasn't alone. King Hero II of Syracuse stood by his side, a ruler whose loyalty was as unpredictable as the Mediterranean tides. Forged in the fires of war, their alliance was a chess game of mutual exploitation. But as Roman legions closed in, Hero made a decision that would change history. He betrayed Hannibal, pledging allegiance to Rome. This single act of treachery left Hannibal exposed, his once unstoppable force suddenly vulnerable. An alliance that could have rewritten history was destroyed by one man's betrayal. Hannibal's dream crumbled in the shadow of disloyalty, and Rome's ascension seemed all but assured. In today's geopolitical landscape, alliances shift with alarming speed. How often do we see nations pivoting allegiances based on self-interest? The tale of Hannibal and Hero serves as a stark reminder that in international relations, today's ally might become tomorrow's adversary. On the sun-baked sands of Egypt, a young conqueror envisioned a city to rival the gods. Alexandria emerged from this audacious dream, a beacon of knowledge and commerce destined to outshine the world. Alexander invited merchants from every corner of his vast empire, creating a bustling metropolis where East embraced West. But Alexandria's fate was inextricably tied to Alexander's charisma. When he died suddenly, his empire fractured, and the city he founded plunged into chaos. The Mediterranean's shining jewel now faced a future as uncertain as the desert winds that swept its streets. In our age of rapid urbanization, Alexander's tale resonates with eerie familiarity. Consider the meteoric rise of cities like Dubai or Shenzhen. These modern marvels, built on visionary leadership and economic ambition, face similar questions of sustainability. Will they thrive beyond their founders' influence? Or are we witnessing the birth of new Alexandrias, vulnerable to the whims of global politics and economics? Vespasian, a man who clawed his way to power through sheer determination, understood the weight of gold. And the wealthy, influential Jewish merchants? They held the keys to the empire's coffers. Their relationship was one of mutual necessity. Vespasian craved their wealth. They needed his protection. But this alliance was built on shifting sands. When the Jewish revolt erupted, Vespasian's wrath was swift and merciless. The destruction of Jerusalem and the scattering of the Jewish people marked the end of their golden age. Vespasian had crushed his enemies, but in doing so, he shattered a vital cog in the empire's economic machine. A stark reminder that even the mightiest rulers can cripple their own economies through short-sighted actions. In today's globalized economy, we see echoes of Vespasian's dilemma. Nations grapple with the balance between political control and economic prosperity. How often do we witness governments taking actions against minority groups or foreign entities, only to find their own economies suffering as a result? The delicate dance between power and prosperity remains as precarious now as it was 2 millennia ago. Venice, a city built on ambition, found its ultimate embodiment in Doge Enrico Dandolo. Though blind, his vision for Venice's future was crystal clear. In the crumbling Byzantine Empire, Dandolo saw an opportunity to elevate Venice to unprecedented heights. Emperor Alexios III, desperate to cling to his throne, turned to Dandolo for salvation. In exchange for Venice's military might, Alexios promised riches beyond imagination. But as Constantinople's coffers emptied and promises turned to dust, Dandolo's patience wore dangerously thin. The Fourth Crusade, ostensibly a holy mission, became Dandolo's instrument of Venetian ambition. When the Crusaders turned on Constantinople, the city fell, and with it the last vestiges of Byzantine power. Dandolo had won, but his victory was forever stained with the mark of betrayal. In our modern era of international interventions and economic bailouts, Dandolo and Alexios's tale strikes a familiar chord. How often do powerful nations or institutions offer aid to struggling states, only to reshape the political landscape to their advantage? From IMF loans to military alliances, the line between assistance and influence remains as blurred today as it was in medieval Venice. The name Scipio Africanus still evokes awe and terror in those who remember Carthage. This Roman general, renowned for his tactical brilliance, was determined to annihilate Rome's greatest rival. But Scipio knew that brute force alone wouldn't suffice. He needed to break Carthage's economic backbone. Enter King Massinissa of Numidia, a man with ambitions to match Scipio's own. Scipio promised him land in exchange for support, and together they laid siege to Carthage, the once thriving center of trade and culture now starved in isolation. When Carthage finally fell, it wasn't just a city that was destroyed, but an entire civilization erased. Scipio's name would be remembered not just as a conqueror, but as the man who wiped Carthage from the map. This tale reminds us that true victory lies not just on the battlefield, but in dismantling the enemy's economic foundations. In our era of economic sanctions and trade wars, Scipio's strategy feels unnervingly relevant. Nations today wield economic weapons with the same precision as military ones. From embargoes to currency manipulation, modern powers seek to undermine their rivals' economies. Are we seeing a more sophisticated version of Scipio's tactics playing out on the global stage? On the banks of the Nile, a charismatic queen and an ambitious Roman general wove a tale that still captivates us today. Cleopatra, the last pharaoh of Egypt, and Mark Antony's union was more than a passionate romance. It was a bold political gambit. Their alliance promised to create a new superpower, marrying Rome's military might with Egypt's vast wealth. But this dream unraveled amid power struggles and cultural clashes. The rise of Octavian, later Augustus, and the Roman Senate's fear of foreign influence spelled doom for the lovers. After a series of brutal naval battles, both Antony and Cleopatra took their own lives, leaving us to wonder, what if their alliance had succeeded? This story reminds us that even the most powerful leaders can be undone by personal passions, altering the fate of entire empires. 2 millennia later, the tale of Cleopatra and Antony still holds profound relevance. In our age of celebrity politicians and power couples, personal relationships continue to shape global affairs. From political dynasties to diplomatic marriages, the intertwining of personal and political remains a potent force. Have we truly moved beyond the age where love and ambition can reshape the world map? As the curtain falls on our journey through time, you've undoubtedly glimpsed the shadows of history in today's world. Indeed, there's nothing new under the sun. While the tools, technologies, and tactics may differ, the essence remains strikingly similar. Your companionship on this voyage has been invaluable. Remember, your subscriptions and comments on the topics you love fuel our passion for creation. See you next time.